The Holy Gospel according to Luke. Now large crowds were traveling with him, and he turned and he said to them, "Whoever comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and even life itself, cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not carry the cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not first sit down and estimate the cost to see whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it will begin to ridicule him, saying, 'This fellow began to build and was not able to finish.' Or, what king going out to wage war against another king will not sit down first and consider whether he is able with 10,000 to oppose the one who comes against him with 20,000? If he cannot, then while the other is still far away, he sends a delegation and asks for the terms of peace. So therefore, none of you can become my disciple if you do not give up all your possessions." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Christ. You may be seated. I don't know if you've noticed this, but it's true. Almost nobody RSVPs anymore. Have you ever tried to plan a party or an event and included one of those RSVP cards and even include a deadline? How many of those responses have you actually gotten back? You probably get a handful, right? And then you'll have to either figure out for yourself how many of your friends that were invited meant to turn in the RSVP card and didn't. And you'll have to figure on those who did turn in their RSVP card and then decided that they weren't going to be able to come. Do you know, I Googled RSVP this week. And would you believe that there are thousands, literally, of websites about planning weddings and knowing party etiquette? And they actually have formulas for this. So take the number of response cards you actually got back, subtract the number of people who said they were going to come and probably won't, and then add on those who meant to turn in their card. Seriously, this is the world we live in now. I attended a baby shower recently in my sister's honor. And I went with my mom, and the two of us got out of my car and were walking behind this young woman who was obviously there for the party. She was dressed in her pink party dress, and she had her two little children with her who were also all dressed in their best. And as this woman got to the door, the host came out so that she could greet everyone. And she looked at her, and the party goer said, "Hi, I'm Natalie. You sent me an invitation. I hope you don't mind. I came with my two children. I know I should RSVP, but, well..." And she just shrugged her shoulders and walked into the house. My mom and I looked at each other. We always RSVP. And my mom looked at me and mouthed the words, "So rude." My mom is really big on etiquette. I was thinking back, too, to another time when I had been to a Christmas party. It was an open house thrown by an architecture friend of Chris's. And we got to the door of this home, and his friend Greg opened the door and said, "Chris, Tracy, what a surprise. Good to see you. Glad you could make it." And Chris said, "Surprise? I turned in my RSVP. I told you I was coming." And our friend said, literally, as he was hugging me, "That doesn't mean anything anymore." Well, today, as in every day, Jesus has extended to us an invitation. He invites his disciples to follow him. And not only that, he invites those who wish to follow him to also carry the cross. And then he includes an RSVP card. And so, we'll need to figure out what we're going to do with it. We might want to just wait, see if something better comes up. We might want to reply right away and then decide later whether we're actually going to go. We might accept it and then forget to mark it on our calendar. We could show up but never say that we're coming. And here's the thing. This invitation that Jesus extends is a really complicated one. His invitation says, you're invited to hate your family, to carry the cross, to follow me, and to give up all your possessions. It kind of makes you want to lose this invitation in that pile with the rest of the junk mail on your table, doesn't it? This is a really hard one to respond to. And I think I know why. I asked a group of members of this church who are helping me work on my doctoral sermons. I asked them, what makes for success in the world today? How do you know when someone has made it? And here's what they told me. You see if you agree with their answers. They said that in order to be successful, you accumulate wealth of some kind. If you can, you try to make it big. But if you don't get rich, that's okay. The point is to accumulate wealth. They also said that a sign of success is to be educated. And if you yourself are not educated, then you do your best to make sure your children are. They said you are successful if you can plan to be comfortable in your retirement. You are successful if you have the best. And by the best, we mean the best house, the best car, the best spouse, in the best neighborhood, raising the best children because you have the best job. And they also said that you are successful if you can wear name brands and gain a place in society. And if you're really lucky, you'll get your picture in the paper on the society page every now and then. And finally, they said, you are successful if you know how to work hard. Another way we talk about this is to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Now, do you agree with their assessment? Does this sound like success? American success? Well, everything that we point to, everything I just named, everything that is evidence of success in the world today is the opposite of what Jesus says is success if we follow him. So here's how it works. We want to hoard. We want to become wealthy. We want to keep. And Jesus says those who respond to his invitation are willing to share, to give it away. We want to set up competitions against one another. We want to have the very best house, the very best clothes, the very best spouse, the very best children. Jesus is not interested in competition. Jesus is interested in unity and relationship and community. We cannot think of anything more important than raising our own families. Now, Jesus does not say our families are not important. But what he does say is that we have to be willing to open ourselves up to relationships besides our individual family members so that we can see our neighbors and respond to their needs. We say that we can give ourselves all the credit. That if we work hard enough, we can do anything we want. Well, Jesus asks that God be part of the picture. Jesus says, if we can give up enough of ourselves and strengthen our prayer lives, that we might just be able to do God's will above and beyond our own. So Jesus invites us to this way of life. And it is sometimes, no, I'm not going to say sometimes, it is almost always. Nope, that doesn't work either. It just is at odds with what the world is going to tell you is the way to live. And that's why he includes this RSVP card. Jesus would like to know whether you'll attend to his way. We know how we want to answer, don't we? We know what we want to say. But carrying the cross is a daily practice, and it's easy to do. It's easy to say we'll do it until we're actually confronted with the world, which does not make this as easy as we would like it to be. What do you do, for example, when you find out your child's first band concert falls during Holy Week and you're going to miss Maundy Thursday? Or what do you do, for example, when confirmation is on Wednesday nights and your child wants to play soccer more than anything in the world and soccer practice is every Wednesday night? What do you do when the position that you have been waiting to get at work is finally available to you and your boss says you can have it, but it means working every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock? What are you going to do when you find out that your favorite store, where you shop all the time, doesn't treat its employees very well? Are you going to still shop there? This is the question. Are you going to RSVP and then not show up? Sounds like a harsh word this morning, doesn't it? Well, here's a couple of things. First of all, you only think you can set down your cross. You only think you can set it down and follow the world's way and then pick it back up again. But that's not true. Maybe it feels like that sometimes, but it's not true. Because on the day of your baptism, You remember the words that were spoken over you. You have been sealed by the Holy Spirit and marked with the cross of Christ forever. You cannot set down or get rid of forever. You always carry that cross with you. And it was never meant to be a burden, but a sign of God's never-ending love for you. And the truth is, while we are deciding whether we will choose Christ, whether we will respond to this invitation, He has already responded. He has chosen us. And He continues every day to choose us. And here's the other thing. While we struggle with our priorities and our loyalties, while we have one foot in this world and one foot in the kingdom, God has already decided what is most important. And God says, the most important thing is you. So, what are you going to do with that invitation?